Hello, everyone. My name is Sanjiv Goyal, and with me today I have Umang Jain, CTO of Zovio. Zovio is an organization doing some phenomenal work in the educational space, which is very, very relevant today for all of us. That what is the future of education? This is a question we are asking everyone. Umang is an IIT Delhi alum, and he's in the United States for more than a decade, and he has done some phenomenal work in healthcare space as well as in education. Umang, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, Sanjeev. How are you?
I'm doing
Glad to be
awesome.
here. Thanks for having me here.
I'm glad. So, Umang, why don't you share with us what is your vision of education, especially post pandemic?
Well, so I think when I think about my vision for education, right, I think about how to make a system that works for my family, my friends, and what would that look like. And if you talk again, I have a 14-year-old son, and he's about ready to go to college. And what they are experiencing is just a very different world than where we come from. The learning is different, how the pace is very different, and again, the speed at which different people learn is again very interesting, right?
Actually, that was the most important question I wanted to ask. So, I'm going to, this is the one question always bothering me. We haven't changed the way we learn, and everything has changed around us in the last 20 years. And learning is still linear learning, and which is not true. You and me both know we can learn exponentially if provided a right environment, we have a right system. And that is the most important question I want to ask today. So I'm so glad you got to that so quickly.
Yeah, no, that's why again, so when you talk about the vision, right? So that's why when I think about education, it is kind of driven by your life events and what's going on, and people in your life inspire you. So, and right now, when I think of education, it's like, what does my son want, and how can I create something that works for him? And as you said, right, everything else around us has changed, but our experience around education has not really changed. Uh, and again, when I say that, it's taken with a grain of salt because there is a lot of innovation happening in the space. Online education, a lot of opportunities that were not available to us growing up as kids is available. A lot of content, a lot of educational videos. A lot of when you think of Khan Academy and the work that they have done, it's just amazing, right? Uh, and a lot of the content is available for free. And when you again, if I take everything else out, you have Google, right?
Yeah.
uh, you, how you learn, how you ask questions, how you validate, that has changed. It's not like when we grew up where if you had a question, you had to go to a library or go to somebody who has experience, and that's the only viewpoint that shape your thinking and your learning. In today's world, the world is accessible, social media is accessible. What people see on TikTok becomes, sometimes their thought process. So it's a very different world that we are living in, and we need to change education to be in pace with that, which basically means you want to understand how people are learning, what they have already learned, and how to take it to the next level and make it personalized for them instead of jamming 50 people, 100 people in a class and making all of them go through the same thing.
So
um,
personalization is the key. That's what I'm hearing from you.
Personalization is the key, and to get to the personalization, you need to understand where people are, what do they know, and how does that, and how do you, what's the next level of education or learning you want to create for them, is, I think, the way for the future. Because people learn through their experiences. Now, if I, just taking my son's example, he's already doing stock trading, and learns a lot more about companies and how to analyze them and stuff like that. He's read books about them. He started a blog about, how to invest in this journey for investing. Now, if I give him a basic course in finance 101, he probably already knows 50 to 60% of the concept, and would be really bored if he has to spend half of his semester going through that. So how do you understand where people are and take it further for them is very important. It's, and makes education efficient. So that's where, so when I think of education, to me, that's kind of the key to success and the holy grail to success.
So what I'm hearing is two words are resonating, and I'm sure it resonates with our audience too, is personalization and experiential learning. But when we talk about it, it sounds pretty amazing, really great. How do you do implementation of that? Because we are still so used to of learning, and this learning, if we look at it, is I will say less than 100 years old. That way, the structure we have. Prior to that, it was more based on individual and personalized. If we look at the even the old movies and we go back to even old Indian scriptures in Gurukul systems, everybody was studying at a different pace, and the teacher has so much understanding of each kid. It's different. Uh, Now today it's not possible because of the population and the things we have. Do you see artificial intelligence or the newer technologies we have can help us create that let's say blueprint for that or a fabric for that?
Well, well, I think um, so. The way I would like to answer that is, I think this basically we need to change how we think of education if we have to go there. I don't think it's a technology challenge. Frankly, we have enough technology to figure out, a lot of the things. It's just how we think about it, and how are we understanding where people are and what are the next steps in their journey, right? And again, also in all of these things, right, what is the motivation for learning? So I come from a healthcare background, and I'm only about a year and a half in the higher ed space and edtech services space. But in healthcare, we were always thinking of how do you keep people healthy, right? That was the holy grail, and out of the hospital system and out of the system, so that the costs are less, and do those things. uh, and a lot of that boils down to your motivation, right? You would think that why are people not walking? Why are they not eating healthy? How do you motivate them to take care of the basic things about themselves? And that was the key to success. I think in education, why are people trying to do what they're trying to do? What is the motivation behind, and how can you motivate and support, understand the motivation and then support them through that process and journey, is the key to success. So again, I always joke around, in healthcare we're trying to keep people out of the system, in education we're trying to keep people in the system, uh, learning and growing. And in both cases it's hard because it's not natural for us as humans to do some of the things that we've been asked to do, whether it's learning or whether it's keeping healthy. um, so that's so understanding the motivation is the key to success, in getting to that personalized impact that you want to have for people. um, I don't think it's a technology challenge. And again, yes, you can use AI ML to continuously learn through that process, and yes, we have a lot of technology and data that will help us figure out what is the next level in learning and get predictive on that front. But we need to think of education in a very different way. Again, at Zovio, we think of it as, what's the skills to employment, with employment being the major motivation for most of the people as they go forward, and that's how we are thinking of what are the courses that are relevant. How do we personalize those courses for people where they are, meet people where they are, and and be part of their lifestyle, if you will, in learning and growing.
I mean,
Um,
Zovio has done phenomenal work in so many years. You are pretty new to Zovio in terms of the time Zovio is around, and you have made a huge impact. I saw how you're able to change the thing. So let's talk 10 years from now. And there is no limitation uh, from at that time. You have all the access, you have all the controls to make changes in the education system. What will that look like to you?
what will that look like to me? Well, again, so it goes back to the motivation, right? To me, it's education is then available to people at will. It doesn't cost an arm and a leg to get educated and get the degrees that you want. Uh, Most likely people are even not thinking of degrees in the same traditional way that we have been thinking of degrees, because a lot of the basic education and the basic knowledge is available. You can just Google through it, and be decently good at it. Is how are you connecting those dots, how are you applying those things, how are you building on top of that becomes important in for, I would say, most of the people in their daily lives. And you want to be able to provide that to them at a very in a very easy way, which also means as part of our employment and trying to understand who is the right person to employ, do they have the right skills, we have a much better process than or a much better ability to understand and estimate people's skill instead of just looking at the degree that they have,
Oh,
right?
that's very
Uh,
exciting. That's very interesting. So, I look at the future and maybe I'm a dreamer. I believe in 10 years from now, the importance of having a degree will diminish. Importance of what you know, what you can do. Because I personally feel today we have a lot of journalists. People know too much about too many things, kind of, but they don't have a deeper level of understanding of these things. To the extent that I can push that envelope a little bit further is we already started outsourcing the job of thinking to computers. That's a
mhm.
fact, whether
Yep.
we like it or not, but it's happening. We don't want to think, like we want our phone to even decide what time to wake up. We want our Nest alarm to Nest device to figure out what time to have what temperature. It's just beyond our imagination, the kind of comforts we are getting with these smaller things, but it's changing our world dramatically. So what is next for us? So I'm really looking at is, as a human, 10 years from now, we have to think of different things, new frontiers. And what are those? That is a key challenge. And if we can predict those new frontiers, the education system has to evolve very quickly. So we are ready and we have people who are trained to take care of those challenges. For example, space is still completely a new frontier for us. Our ocean is still, very little explored. We know so little about our Earth even today, and we are talking about Mars. So there are a lot of opportunities around there. Other opportunities I clearly see is around zero carbon footprint, because our carbon footprint is increasing. Our food is adding more and more. So it's a huge challenge. And I'm not seeing any institution is doing work in that direction. So the challenge I have for you and the question I have for you is, as the person who is at the helm of Zovio, which is a very large organization, you have impact on hundreds of thousands of people in terms of the total impact. What you see and the areas you see, the growth areas in the education.
Uh, again, so first of all, I totally agree. There's a lot of basic challenges that we also need to, again, you're talking about going to Mars and all. I think we have a lot of basic challenges that we have still not solved for. World hunger is not solved for. It's not, and again, I don't think it's not solved for because we don't lack resources. It's just, how do we as as a human society think of the basic threshold of living and treating humans and taking care of them and serving or crossing our boundaries of countries, religion, race to get there, right, is what's preventing us from doing that. So I think that's the challenge we all need to be thinking of. Same in the healthcare space, right? Is like how do you provide basic healthcare capabilities across the board? A lot of challenges on that front. Um, Talking about living on Mars, actually, 2 days back, I thought I was living in Mars with all the orange skies in the Bay Area. So,
Yeah,
maybe that's going to be the new norm. uh,
I hope not.
but that is again, that's the reality, right? We are talking about the when you talk about Earth and where we are and the climate change. Those are real problems for us, and what we have to do to survive is going to need a lot more innovation. And to me, innovation comes not by again it, I think innovation happens at the cusp of two realms meeting together. So it's how do you connect the dots across two new things and two new learnings is when you get innovation, right? That's, I would say, the primary driver of innovation. The human brain thinks differently. when it's exposed to different experiences, and you bring that thing together, and you can think of creating something new. And to me, that's the challenge in education: is how do you give people these very varied experiences uh, without making it too onerous, and start driving the innovation that is needed to solve real world problems.
And especially in today's context when you can't even bring them to school. So because if I remember my days of IIT, and I'm sure you must be the same, is uh, 90 to 95% of my learning was with my friends. We used to sit together and solve a problem because we couldn't solve any problem by ourselves. It was so complex. I remember my days like once three of us sat down whole night and we could solve only 6 questions from an assignment. It just, and it was so phenomenal. I mean, that experience I always remember. Whenever I'm in a tough spot, I say, you know what, just bring some people in and then we'll figure it out, even if they are not an expert. And we find the different viewpoint really help us solve those problems. So when do you see this is going to happen in the education space, where we start at least doing this collaboration remotely, because now it is all remote. There is no classroom.
Well, again, if you look at what we have been doing in the online education space, you have the technology available to do the collaboration. Um, and we are bringing that to the forefront at Zovio, and also trying to figure out how to get that across other universities and university partners. So that's, I think it's happening. I think with the pandemic and with COVID, it is going to change how we collaborate. Again, do not think of our physical barriers to bring people of various interests together and make it easier for people to collaborate. People are getting innovative and are finding new ways to collaborate, even even when they're not physically together. And I think that is actually leading to a lot more varied viewpoints coming together instead of all the physical barriers we used to have, right? Um, it's as simple as going to conferences, right? It was a big barrier. Now it's much easier to attend a conference and get a much more global presence, and thoughts together. What I face and see in California is not what people in Delhi face, or what people in South Africa face, or people in Namibia, right? So there's a lot of learning that people can have just because of what other experiences are, and share those experiences. And I think that's sharing is going to be one of the biggest ways in which education is going to change going forward.
So what I'm hearing from you is one is there is this collaboration. The system already exists. We have to figure out a way, how do we build it in, or how do we deploy it in such a way that more people can collaborate, more people can get engaged, so the learning become more exponential instead of linear learning. We have to look and think about the areas where the world is heading, the kind of challenges we are going to have in future, and then come up with those education systems to curriculum to other programs. One big thing I just heard from you is it seems like there is a silver lining somewhere. It's not like, oh, there is no opportunity in a way. Where we are today as a country, or as a globally, the global economy is a time. If we all join our hands together, we will be able to create new and different kind of blueprint for the future of education and future of humanity. Am I correct?
I think so. I think we as humans come up with our most innovative solutions and collaborations when it goes tough, right? As I say, necessity is the mother of invention. We are, COVID has created a lot of necessities and is also creating a lot of innovation and invention in the ecosystem. So I think uh, we are going to deal with it, and we are going to come out stronger as a human race out of this situation. Coming from healthcare, right? I was here in healthcare. We were trying to deploy telehealth options. Technology existed, but there were a lot of rules and regulations that prevented the widespread use of telehealth. And well, after like 4 or 5 years of fighting, with COVID, within a couple of weeks, all the rules were changed and regulations changed, and telehealth is off to a right start. And similarly here, online education, taking the physical barriers out for people in terms of collaborating and educating. People are beginning to use the technology because necessity is the mother of invention, and makes change much easier for us humans.
Awesome. So Umang, that's almost to the end of our segment, but I wanted to ask you questions. Can you tell us a little bit about you to our audience so they know uh, from where you come and how you got here and how you become the CTO of one of the largest e-learning and not just e-learning, it's I will call it more of an intuitive learning platform, because you are really bringing the best of the best technologically breed solution and creating a collaborative education environment where you are even helping them figure out what they should or shouldn't be even doing or learning. How was the journey and how you got here?
Oh, I don't know where to start. I guess it again, I come from a very small family back in India, from Faridabad, and for people globally located, it's a suburb of Delhi, and yeah, I still believe I happened to get into IIT. That was actually the only entrance exam I passed. I did not pass a lot of other entrance exams, you know, be it luck or whatever it is. And part of the reason was because I had given my SATs and was planning to come to the US. My visa was denied because of whatever reasons. They did not find the paperwork right, or whatever. So I ended up at the IIT. And hindsight, that was one of the best things that ever happened to me. Would not trade it for any other experience. Frankly, some of the best friendships, the learning, and just probably the best time in my life. In fact, I did my engineering. I'm a textile major, um, and one of the things I learned there is how to bring various engineering disciplines together, whether it's polymer sciences or mechanical engineering or computer sciences, and how to use that to think of something new. And that is something that has been with me throughout my journey. And joined Infosys. I would say about a few months after I was at Reliance. And because I did not see myself doing textile engineering for life and did not like the work that was there, decided to make the change, went into software, worked with Infosys for a couple of years, and then decided to come to US, was with Deloitte for some time. And it was just an amazing period. And part of the things that I've always that I've always done is continue to learn and grow. Find new challenges, continue to grow, and keep learning and growing. And that's how I guess I landed up here. In fact, I changed from healthcare to education because I thought I'd spent too much time in healthcare and wanted to change and wanted to learn something new, a new space, and also saw myself making a difference in terms of bringing technology experiences to bear to a new business problem. And it's been exciting right here at Zovio with all the exciting things that we are working on. So yeah, that's been the journey, I guess. And there are no shortcuts to success. There were no shortcuts to this success. It's been a lot of hard work and taking risks and being open to learning and growing, as you go forward.
So fantastic. That's amazing, Umang. That's phenomenal. And it's so you see, I talked to several people in last few weeks, and really the people who are the change maker, in my opinion, you are one of those. And one word resonate with every single person is challenges. And it seems like it's a pattern that every single IITian thrives when they see a challenge. When they see things, everything is going fine, they are not really excited. So challenges excites us. So question for you is, do you have a challenge for our audience?
I think the challenge for the audience is we have think of all the opportunities that we are living in. Again, I think we'll all be talking about 2020 as the year of change, a year of the pandemic and wildfires, and again the list goes on and on. But this is to me also a year of
Bring it on.
challenge and opportunity. Yeah, just like we have a T-shirt here at Zoe which says hashtag bring it, and to me this has been a hashtag bring it year, and we all will rise to the challenge. To me, the challenge for the audience is think of how you want to change the world. There's opportunities everywhere, whether it's education, whether it's healthcare, whether it's world hunger, for as simple as that. And apply yourself and figure out how you're going to change the world. It's in our hands, right? What we change and how we change.
No, that's really, really wonderful. I mean, I really enjoyed our conversation. Uh, Thank you very, very much, Umang, for your time. It was really amazing.